To be sure you never miss a Tech Ninja video, tap on the bell icon right next to subscribe. This is the iPhone 10. The iPhone we've been waiting for a very, very long time. Apple's design for many people just became stale, and it felt extremely dated. This is the biggest change Apple has made on their iPhone ever. It's a slice of the future of Apple. I've only had the iPhone for a few days, but let me give you guys my opinion. This is the iPhone 10 24 hours later review, brought to you by Rhino Shield. Right off the bat, the iPhone 10 is a great looking phone. I'm not going to take anything away from Apple. Now I know it's called the iPhone 10, but I'm going to call it iPhone X because it's a little confusing and a lot of people call it iPhone X, so deal with it. Now as far as design, there's a couple things that I'm not a fan of, but overall I am definitely impressed by it. Especially that screen to body ratio. 2017 is all about killing the bezels, and the iPhone 10 definitely does that. Compared to the iPhone 8 Plus and the Note 8, the iPhone 10 holds its own, giving you a screen to body ratio of 82% compared to a measly 67% on the iPhone 8. In the hand, the iPhone feels great. It has some pretty decent weight to it at 6.14 ounces. The build is made out of glass on the front and the back, and it's also wrapped in stainless steel. It's IP67 dust and water resistant. With it being made from glass, in my experience, especially with the iPhone 8, that the back starts to chip, and it also can crack if you set it down too hard or if you give it just even a light drop. Let's see how the iPhone 10 holds up before I start talking about that. That is definitely an issue on the iPhone 8 and most phones with a glass back, including the Note 8 as well. Now if you want to protect your $1,000 minimum investment, consider using a Rhino Shield, and thank you so much for sponsoring this part of the video. The Rhino Shield mod case can convert your phone from a bumper case to a full case with a hard shell back and even a screen protector. You can customize the back graphics and even the buttons on the side to definitely make it your own case. You can even attach Rhino Shield's lenses to it to take your photos to the next level. Hit the links down below to pick up a Rhino Shield case for your phone. The screen is AMOLED 5.8 inches with the 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio. It gives it a taller design, but at the same time makes it easier to hold. This plays into the top notch of the screen. Love it or hate it, the notch is here and you do have to interact with it. Now some apps don't play nicely with it, while some other apps do account for it. I definitely don't think that's a big deal. Any respectable app will soon have an update to account for the notch, and that's kind of what happened when the iPhone went to the Plus model and a lot of the apps were like really tiny in the middle, didn't stretch all the way out. That's just kind of what happens when you switch design up. It takes a little bit of time, but Apple's definitely a lot faster when it comes to that part, is getting everything up to date, so I'm not too worried about that. So I said that notch plays a big part, and that's where it holds the front-facing camera and other sensors and things that requires the biggest feature for the iPhone 10, and that is Face ID. Gone is Touch ID, and now we have Face ID. Face ID uses your face to unlock the phone and authenticate for payments, and it actually works very well. Just like other face recognition software out there, it's definitely not perfect, but it does work in most scenarios. I didn't find it easy to trick. You can do things, put your glasses on, put a hoodie on and things like that. It's pretty good with that, but there are different situations where it just didn't work right. Under extreme lighting, it does not work. So The Verge mentioned when they were under fluorescent lightings at the deli, it didn't work. Well, when I actually had on my studio lighting directly on the phone, it had an issue with deciphering the light in my face and it just didn't work. But for most scenarios, it actually worked just fine in my small test sample. Now let's move all the way over to the camera, and the camera is what you'll see on your iPhone 8. It's a great camera. It's fast, tons of shooting modes, and it has the new portrait system with the portrait lighting. It takes pictures with this faux depth of field, and you see that with a lot of other cameras too. The Note 8 has it with its live focus, the Pixel has it with portrait, and the iPhone has it too. So what it does, it actually uses both lenses to determine the background and the foreground, and once you take the picture, it blurs the background out, and then it lets you add these different lighting effects. Now, In my opinion, it actually works very well. It's kind of a gimmicky feature, but I do find myself using that more so than the standard camera when I am taking portraits. Now, as far as portrait lighting, there's a couple of extreme lighting modes like the contour and the mono and stage lighting. I don't use that too much, but there's a couple more subtle settings that I actually do use a lot when I'm taking a portrait. Overall, the 10, you're not gonna notice any type of quality difference between the 8 as well, and it's just a solid camera. Now, if you wanna compare it directly to the Pixel, which I will be doing soon, don't worry, I do find the portrait mode on the Pixel a little bit better than on the iPhone. Now, besides Face ID, another big feature actually utilizes the same front-facing camera, and that is, you ready for it? Animoji. Yes, Animoji. I may not be interested in this, but I think the kids would definitely eat this up. It matches your face with the animated character on your phone. When you start talking, the character actually moves its mouth, head with you. I forgot what the number is, but there's tons of different face motions and tons of different shapes that it can make to decipher exactly what you're saying, and it actually is pretty cool. I would love to see the tech they use for this be put into something else, something a little bit more substantial, but as of right now, it's definitely a cool little tech demo, and you can send this out through your iMessage client to different people. So I can kind of see kids using this, but for someone like me, of my advanced maturity level, I don't see myself using this at all, but I do like the tech behind it. Performance is what you'd expect. It is, as I drop my phone. Performance is definitely what you'd expect. It's fast. It feels like the iPhone 8 as far as speed, and that's not a bad thing at all. It's really good. The games run fast and extremely fluid, and everything just runs nice. iOS 11 still has a little bit of quirks here and there, but overall, the phone feels great. But performance is not the issue that I'm having. The other issue is this, I guess, is being unfamiliar with the gestures control. Since the iPhone doesn't have any buttons, everything you do is based off gestures, which definitely does take some time getting used to, as each gesture can do something different, or if you hold that gesture, it does something completely different as well. So for example, you can switch apps by doing the swipe, or if you do the swipe and pull, you are doing fast app switching, and there's a lot of subtleties like that that takes a lot of time getting used to. I can definitely see myself learning it and getting really fast with the OS and flying through the menu with the breeze, but for a lot of people, especially maybe the people who are less tech savvy, I can see them getting extremely confused with the gestures, especially with the combinations of buttons you have to press to do certain things, like screenshot now has changed to the volume key and also the power button, but if you hold that a little bit longer, then it does something completely different. So there's a lot of subtleties and a lot of different actions you have to learn to actually use the phone. It's not as fluid, it is not as normal as you'd expect with other phones that actually have buttons. Now I gotta be honest, I'm not sure how long Apple plans to keep that system in play with the no buttons at all, but it definitely is something to get used to, but I'm up for the challenge and I would like to actually dig into it. So by the time my full review comes out, you guys are definitely gonna see a new me who is better at the gestures and button combination. It feels like I'm playing like DDR or like Tekken or something, where I have to do all these combos and combinations to make things go right. So anyways guys, those are my 24 hours with the iPhone X. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you folks later. Peace.